Suddenly, I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye, and at the same moment, Susan came slowly backwards through the front entrance. I became aware of a low humming in the air, very similar to the noise that telephone wires make in the country at night. Susan stopped and looked round her wildly, then stared at me, her eyes distended in a dreadful sort of horror. She looked past me, and I knew there was something behind me, somewhere. I was just about to turn and look when the doctor collapsed in my arms. I laid him down on the floor in a sitting position and looked at Susan, a question forming on my lips. The answer came through the front entrance slowly. A nightmare answer. It had the blood draining away from my face and the skin stretching around my eyes. It was a round metal thing, about 3 feet in height, like an upturned beaker with a domed top. It had dull metal flanges all around it, and 3 different kinds of rods sticking out in front. It glided over the metal flooring, and Susan retreated before it until she stood close to me. Now I knew what it was I'd been conscious of, and what Susan had seen behind me, because I became aware that we were surrounded by more of them, all gliding out of the doors of the entrance chamber and pointing their rods at us. Except from one door. One door that was tantalizingly open and unguarded. All I could think of was that the doctor was seriously ill and needed help. One of the machines came quite near to us, and then stopped about 4 feet away. I started to examine the 3 rods it had, battling to control the fast way I was breathing and every impulse I had to panic and run. The 3 rods were each entirely different. The first, and shortest, was attached to the top, the domed part, and seemed to be a sort of eye. I could see the iris contracting and expanding as it ranged over us. The other 2 were in the position of arms, being roughly in the center of the body at each side of it. The left-hand one was a stubby barrel affair, little more than a stick with a hole running through it. The other, the longest of the 3, was a black rod with a suction pad at the end of it. I also noticed that there were 2 bulbs on either side of the base of the eye stick. At first